Hi, and welcome to the 7th episode of 5 in 5. My name is Katie Ritter, and my contact information is on the screen. And this episode is going to be a little bit different. I'm actually going to talk about 5 ed tech books that you can read over the summer. So I won't be creating an episode in June or July. We'll resume in August. But to tide you over, I've got 5 books that I recommend that you read this summer. So the first book is Untangling the Web, written by Steve Dembo and Adam Bello. Adam was actually the closing keynote at ISTE last year in San Antonio, and he did a fantastic job. And the book is just as excellent, with an added touch from Steve Dembo as well in here. So I know that I was already familiar with a lot of the 20 tools that they talk about, but I definitely found myself learning something, if not a lot, about each one of the tools, and they give so many great suggestions to use them in the class at all ages. It's a very easy and quick read. You can start with any chapter. You could just read a couple of chapters throughout the book, so you definitely don't need to read from beginning to end. However, I do recommend it just because you get that many more ideas, but if you're just looking for something quick to get a few ideas, this is a fabulous book. Our second book, Web 2.0, How To for Educators by Gwen Solomon and Lynn Shrum, is another great example of a book that you can pick up. You don't need to read from beginning to end. You can start at any chapter and just read that chapter. And beginners, you'll feel like you can hit the ground running, like you've got enough information to get started with some of the basics. And advanced users, you're going to walk away with a new perspective and some new ideas to use if you read this book. They go through tons of tools that you can use, and I just think that they do a fabulous example of giving you ideas to actually, not just these theory things of what you could do, but some actual examples from teachers all over the country who have used these tools and different lessons that they have actually used with the tools. So they give multiple real life examples for all of the tools that they talk about, and I just think that that they do a great job. The third book is Flip Your Classroom by Jonathan Bergman and Aaron Sams. I read this a couple of summers ago, and I just still think it's so relevant to people interested in flipping the classroom. If you are interested in flipping or thinking about doing it, you've got to read this book to get started. They just give you so many examples from their own experiences with flipping the classroom, and it will give you the confidence to get started yourself. If you have already flipped, they go into the flipped mastery model, so maybe something that you haven't started if you have already flipped your classroom. So I think that this book would still encourage those who have flipped to sort of push their comfort zone and their boundaries to get even more out of the flipped classroom. So I definitely recommend this book to anyone interested in any aspect of the flipped classroom at all. The fourth book, Out of Our Minds, Learning to Be Creative by Sir Ken Robinson, is actually on my own list of books to read this summer. I have watched a couple of his TED Talks, and I just think that they're absolutely inspiring. And he has this way of saying things that really make you stop and think how we're doing things in education, and make you want to change the way that you're doing some of the things in your classroom to put some creativity in the students' hands and to help students find their inner creativity. And creativity is such an important piece with technology in the classroom, and allowing students to create using technology in your class as opposed to just consuming it. So I think this would be a great book to start stemming some of those ideas. So I can't wait to read this. I just think that he's phenomenal. And the last book is another one that's on my own list to read this summer, Digital Leadership, Changing Paradigms for Changing Times by Eric Sheninger. And this book has come highly recommended by ed tech people all over the country. And I've been in webinars with Eric, and I follow him on Twitter, so I imagine that his book is going to be just as inspiring and motivating and insightful as some of his tweets and some of the things that he's had to say in his webinar. So definitely, if you're looking to be someone to lead the charge with technology in the classroom at your school, I would recommend this book for this summer. And that's it for the 5 ed tech books to read this summer. Tune back into August, and I hope you all have a fabulous summer.